That's Cole.
Welcome back to the Puck Drop Podcast. I'm Cole, the NHL Music Man Chapman. I'm here with Lieutenant Tinkle D, Destin Edgington, as always. And as always, we're brought to you by Hockey Stops up in Ogden and Logan. We were there over the weekend. Just nothing but amazing things to say about those people, you know? It's always a fun time just going there. Such a great time.
Corey.
Yes. And then we're going to talk about our other sponsor, UTOG, which is just, in that same area of Ogden. Go check them out. We went and had a lunch on the back patio, which shares the outfield with the Ogden Raptors. Fun, amazing times. We're actually going to do a podcast there here soon with Carson. So
nice.
Yeah, it'll be fun. They have cornhole out there. It's family friendly. Go check it out. And we are here with Dave Suter.
Suits.
And we call him Mini Suits.
Yeah.
Alex. Is that right?
Yes, that's a good nickname.
Hey, we call them Mini Suits.
I just noticed your tattoo on your leg, and I'm pretty impressed.
Ooh. It's got Chicago. Is that a Chicago Blackhawks?
It's a Bountiful Braves hockey logo from 1976 that Big Suits wore.
Nice. Love it.
Absolutely. There's meaning to everything,
we didn't know that.
Absolutely.
Should have brought that jersey, dude.
Yeah.
I know. I'm over here like, hey, man. I just barely realized. Literally.
Your microphone, something's going on there, bud. You need to figure that out.
I'm just hanging out over here, man.
So we brought Alex Suter on with his pops because he has produced a book. Why don't you tell us about it? What's this book about? I'm going to hold it up here for the camera, and you go ahead and.
So it's about all the legends that are in the Hockey Hall of Fame. There's about, I think, 175 players.
So every single player that made it into the Hall of Fame, yeah?
Pretty close. I just picked guys that deserved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
So Theo Fleury's in here.
Theo Fleury's in here.
Good.
Yes.
Had to make sure of that. So what sparked you? What made you want to do this?
2017 was the NHL's 100-year anniversary.
Okay.
And they did a YouTube channel that had the 100 greatest players videos, and me and my dad watched them, and it inspired me to write this book.
Love it.
And you also have other sports, right?
Yeah, I did one on the Major League Baseball, NBA, and NFL.
Awesome.
That's awesome. And how many pages do we got in this?
I rolled through that bad boy.
There's a lot.
And I was like, this is impressive.
How long have you been working on these?
There's been a lot of different books from that one from 2017, different renditions. This is the final one.
So you started in 2017 then?
Yeah, so the first book was just the 100 greatest players.
Okay.
And then I kept doing different ones. That one's the perfect one.
Love it.
Dude, and I'm so thrilled that I have the luxury of a paperback.
We got the first copy apparently.
Yeah, you guys got the first copy because you guys are so special.
I love it. I love it. Even signed it for us and everything.
Know. Keep going on this,
Yeah.
man. Hey, and it's what is it? $12 you say?
$12 for the book, and I'm doing all 4 books are $40.
Okay.
Let's go.
Where do people buy this at?
So you can hit me up on Facebook, Alex Suter, and send me your email. And I've been sending ebooks.
Cool.
And we'll make sure to get the info.
Yeah, we'll put that. We'll pop that up. Alex Suter, if you need Soutter.
I got stuck for like a good solid hour, just like literally rolling through.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you open up literally any page and it's Guy
It tells you
Lafleur,
the stats, everything.
I mean, Connor McDavid. Look at that. Like I'm just Brad
That's not a
Park,
sign.
Maurice the Rocket Richard.
No, that's incredible.
I love this.
And I love it, and keep going. I mean, add to it, make it yours. Be you and keep doing that. That's awesome. I love that stuff. I don't know. That's
I just want to go down. Let's do Ted Lindsay. So born in July 1925 from Ontario, Canada. Height is 5'8". Weight is 163. Position is left wing. Shoots left. NHL draft. He went undrafted. Player career 1944 to 1960. 16 seasons. And he's in the Hockey Hall of Fame and 100 greatest players. Games played 1,068, goals 379, assists 472, points 851, and then it has all the teams he played for and all the trophies he won.
4 cups.
That is awesome. Yeah, 4 cups, Art Ross trophy.
Hey, real quick, go down the line. Close your eyes. Let's play a little game here. Close your eyes.
Can we quiz you?
Open the book. No, you first. You, then me.
What?
And let's just see what we can project on like what the player that you get.
Okay. So what am I asking?
I think that's
though?
kind of fun.
What am I
Suits
asking?
is gonna
though?
kill it.
All right,
you're gonna
Suits.
kill it. We're gonna look like dumb.
We're gonna go. I'm gonna quiz you on Guy Lafleur.
Guy Lafleur.
Yeah, Guy Lafleur.
Whatever.
Already. Next.
he must. I was gonna say he must not be
Already got
American.
He already wins.
Clearly. All right. How many Stanley Cups?
6.
Ooh, close. 5.
Ooh.
Is that what we're doing? Is this the game you wanted
Alex
to do?
would have gotten that.
Okay, Alex.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Ooh, man, this one's too easy.
What?
Gordie Howe.
Oh, see, I wrote the book but don't know the answers. I'm going to guess 4 or 5.
Okay, it's 4 cups. Yep, he's got 4 cups. 6 Art Ross trophies.
I'm nervous.
6 Hart Memorial trophies.
All right, Cole.
Love it.
I'll go. You go.
Jacques Plante.
Jacques Plante.
Yeah. What?
See, I'm doing English. I'm just reading it out in English here,
I think
guys.
that was his sister, Jacques.
Sounds like a Seinfeld episode.
We got Kramer over here pronouncing.
All right. Do you know who this is? First of all, say his name again.
Jacques Plante.
Jacques Plot.
2 cups.
6.
6?
Yeah.
He had 6?
Yeah, dude. These.
I was thinking of somebody else.
Well, and do you know what
Montreal.
Jacques Plante did for the NHL and for goalies specifically?
I love that.
What's that?
Keep going.
He wore the first mask,
Oh, yes, that's right.
the inventor.
He's the guy that got it
Jason.
all going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched
Yeah.
something the other day on that actually.
Yeah, he went in there and said, I'm not coming back on until he let me put on my mask. And
Well, he had been injured. He'd been hit with
Yeah.
a shot.
Well-
and he had to go in and get stitched up. And so he had this mask that he only used in practice. And at the time, the Canadians coach, Toe Blake was his name, he said, "Look, I don't want you wearing that mask in a game. Come on."
Yeah.
I mean, players were discouraged from wearing helmets. It was a men's league back then, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just the attitude. So anyway, during a game, he got cut pretty bad. He had to go out and get stitches, or at least get bandaged up. And he said, "I'm not going back in unless you will let me wear this mask." And okay, so
Love
they let
that.
him.
Oh, that's.
I mean, we can just read names, and I want to hear stories.
I
guys.
know.
So,
I love this. I really genuinely love this.
We can. This could be its own podcast. You got enough pages here.
So I want to elaborate on something, and I want my dad, this is my dad, by the way, to elaborate on that.
Yeah.
When you see older players from the 50s, 60s, they went undrafted. There wasn't drafts back then.
Okay.
So if you want to elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, the draft really didn't start until sometime in the mid to late 60s. So they didn't really have an NHL draft. And the way it was set up, I'm not going to tell this exactly how it was, but I have a pretty good general idea. Each NHL team, before expansion, sponsored their own junior club. So, for example, the Detroit Red Wings sponsored the Hamilton Red Wings and so on and so forth. And they had the Montreal Junior Canadiens, and Toronto had the Toronto, what do they call them? Anyway, they all had the Marlboros, Toronto Marlboros.
yeah.
There you go.
And I've known guys that have played for the Marlboros. Anyway, these guys were assigned to these contracts. They called them C-form contracts. These young guys who were 15, 16 years old. And so they were indentured to play for that NHL team once they got out of juniors, unless for some reason they were traded. So they didn't have a choice, and things were so much different back then. They didn't have a big draft. They didn't have the big, auditorium, and most of these players just came up and they went to play for the teams, the NHL teams, and they were owned by these teams that had sponsored them. And so that's just the way it was until when the NHL expanded, that's when things really began to change.
And with that being said, like to the audience that watches, yeah, we do kind of go off on random tangents of other teams, but this is culture to lead to where we are now, which is the best part of this game. You've got a whole room here full of everything that goes into what creates hockey, right? You are a historian. You are leading into that with making sure that it's known. Cole,
I'm just here.
he's good at shinning. He's good at goalie with pillows taped to his legs. Hockey. You know?
Here's an interesting fact. I mean, the first guy you looked at in there was Ted Lindsay, and Ted Lindsay is the guy that got the Players Association, helped organize that. He's the guy that really kickstarted that.
He got the players that had better contracts because they were getting paid absolutely nothing to play hockey.
This stud right here, dude. I'm telling you, piggybacking off Pops, dude.
He
Love
knows.
it.
He's got that steel trap mind, kind of like I do.
Terrible Ted Lindsay. That was his nickname.
So, and these guys had great nicknames. That's one of my favorite things about hockey is awesome nicknames.
Yeah. Suits.
Suits. The Suits brothers.
That's my jersey right there.
Yeah.
Guy Lafleur's nickname was the Flower because Lafleur's flower in French.
Absolute. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Same with kind of the fluttery style.
Love it.
Yeah.
Guy Lafleur. Yeah, that means the
Look at that.
There you go.
Suits.
Now we're in business.
Love that.
I do. I love it.
All right. Well, just give me one more. So I flipped to Mark.
No.
Mark
Let's see what you got.
Mark Messier.
No, give me that.
I want to hear something about Mark Messier because he's a
Mark Messier was like 5-time Stanley Cup.
6-time.
Damn, I'm off.
Come on, man. Get it right.
Won a ton, dude.
Get it right.
Well, you were looking at
Get
him.
it right. What do you know about hockey?
Mark
went to
Messier played on those Oiler teams with Gretzky,
Yeah,
Coffee, Curry, Gretzky, Coffee, and then captained the Oilers when Gretzky left to his Stanley Cup, and then captained the Rangers to his Stanley Cup in '94.
Love that. See, these guys are just books, human books.
All right, Cole.
Hey, I got his name right. That's a bonus.
The first one.
All right, Cole. Mark 10, St. Louis. Who does he coach for now?
St. Louis Blues.
That's a good guess. It's his last name.
He actually didn't know.
I'll give you a hint. Les Habitants. Does that mean anything? Les Habitants.
Alberta?
Come on.
No.
You gave Cole a French question when he can't pronounce French names.
Come on.
Love this.
Je la sais quoi.
The French. There's no French team, so I don't know what you guys are spinning off of
Who's
here.
going to spill the tea before I do?
The Montreal Canadiens.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm thinking France, not.
Montreal is
okay.
France.
Okay.
In Canada.
Yeah, when I hear French, I always forget that there's that other. Yeah,
Quebecois.
How many cups?
3.
1. Don't ruin my book.
I love it. This is so cool.
I do. I actually do. That's actually impressive. I'm thoroughly impressed. And even just to be able to name things off and listen to you guys just go on.
Yeah, I mean,
love that.
I think we can go down.
I would love to, but I
any
don't want to.
name
I mean,
here.
if you go on what you want to go on to, because that's impressive. I really genuinely love that.
Well, Montreal. Okay, so Cole, one of the things I said to you to give you a hint was Les Habitants, and what
Yes.
that is, it means the people that live here, the inhabitants of this region. Okay, so that term was coined probably 100 years ago, when the Canadian team started in the NHA or the NHL, whichever it was, I can't remember. That's what that CH means. That H stands for habitant.
And the Canadians are an original team, right?
They're an original 16.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That's like
See, I knew that.
the way that they have their C set up.
Learning, guys.
Yeah.
Now.
That's what I'm saying. It's awesome. This is
you're a
amazing.
sponge. You're so
No, I mean,
No, and it's
well,
incredible.
this is good for everybody in Utah. You know.
Yeah.
And anybody in general.
Yeah.
This is worldwide, brother.
I know.
This is not just.
Well, I'm
Utah.
just talking
well, thank you
because
for
of
the
the-
sport, but at the same time, this is incredible.
I'm just talking because of all the new fans and stuff. The people that want to dive into the history of hockey.
I want to keep going.
Dick Duff.
Like,
Tell me about that guy.
We're doing
What
good.
a name.
So that's my dad's favorite player, by the way. he
Dick Duff.
he won 8 Stanley Cups, played on those Montreal teams.
6.
6.
Well, Dick Duff is a guy that he played on. He won a lot of Stanley Cups, but his overall stats. I mean, I'm not here to criticize Dick Duff, but they're not all that impressive.
Was
Yeah.
it like
Okay.
1935-ish?
No, he played in the 50s and 60s.
50s? Okay.
He played
I was
with
just curious,
Richard
'cause I
and-
know there's a lot of age
Oh,
gap,
okay.
which is-
So
cool,
he was
cool.
born in 1936.
Yeah.
And I'm just-
Playing career
yeah.
1955. Yeah.
I was going to say, because I noticed that you've got a broad
Yeah.
age gap in there,
Yeah.
which I love.
I
That's
mean,
such history.
for 17 seasons. Yeah, I would agree that his stats aren't.
Well, you're looking at him now.
I know.
You're cheating.
For 17 seasons, he should have way more. than what I'm seeing.
But this is one of
that
those
doesn't-
funny
no.
things about
I could do better. No, I'm just kidding.
the Hockey Hall of Fame. We were talking earlier that it's kind of the old boys club in a sense. And I mean, they can run it however they want. But I mean, I see guys like Dick Duff that are in, and it took Pierre Turgeon, who had like 1,400 points, took him forever to get in.
Well, and Alexander Mogilny's still not in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the greatest Russians of all time. He scored 71 goals in 1993-94.
And isn't he like 1,700 points?
Yeah, he's in there.
Holy
13
cow!
or
He's got over
70?
1,000.
Oh,
I know
easy.
that.
Yeah.
Easily over
Yeah.
1,000. So,
Well,
In
and
nine,
that's-
that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, I'm still
but
Well, and that's
they look
what's-
at guys like Dick Duff, and he was on all those great Montreal teams, and they give him credit for winning those cups. But of course, that's a team effort. That's not an individual effort. But,
Right.
but scoring points, you kind of look at that, and that's what sets guys apart. I think is what they do as individuals.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
One thing I noticed when I rolled through this just on my phone before I got the immaculate paperback copy was the fact that like a lot of the players in the league actually had more assists. Like their assists almost outweighed the goals. And growing up, I was kind of taught like assists are better than goals. But at the end of the day, a point's a point, and it's a team effort. But I give credit to where it started from.
Oh yeah,
that's where it
I always
boils
told the
down to,
kids.
like-
Well, a long time ago, I coached a travel team, and one of the kids' dads paid him like $5 every time he scored a goal. And after
Well, fair.
10 or 12 games, he had like 25 goals and 2 assists.
It makes you not pass the puck, right?
Yeah, so I talked to the dad and I said,
Fair.
look, you do whatever you want. I can't tell you how to be a parent, but I said the thing is, assists are just as important as goals, and maybe pay him $5 if he gets an assist too. And I never thought of that. So he did. He agreed to do that, and immediately the assist total started going up. And I mean, he was still scoring goals, but he got
So
more
I'm going to
assists.
touch on that briefly, real quick, and then I'm going to end it real quick. There's a lot of stuff going on with like youth hockey blowing up, right? We want to make that proud and loud. A lot of political side of things that are happening before that's even become a thing.
On our way over here, what happened?
Yeah, we're not going to
No, the kids. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
saying like in general, like parents, if you're watching this, let the coaches coach. Once you hit the car, don't talk about hockey. Talk about dinner, where we're going to go eat, what you're going to do. Are you going to go practice at home? Whatever. Do your homework.
Oh, yeah.
Leave
I
it
agree.
on
How do
the
you
ice.
think? How do you think?
Because you're going to ruin the game before it even started on politics.
So how
When
do
I
you
say
think-
politics? That's not the whole Bojai
They used to have
and Trump. Hold on, I'm not done. I want to clarify that.
It's sports politics. We know
it's
that.
just the
Everybody
parents
knows.
thinking they know what they know when they don't know.
So how do you put an end to it?
You don't talk to the kids after they get done with.
But
practice.
how do you get it to the point where parents aren't doing that?
watch the podcast and make sure that they don't do that? Be an adult.
Love that. Okay.
Be an adult. Like,
I think there's a deeper
don't
answer
need
that
to
I was
get-
looking for,
Well, no, you
but
don't need to. No, like you don't need to get. that was dumb, but like you don't need to be involved. After the coach coaches, he's a coach for a reason. Trust the process.
Well,
That's it.
here's the thing. I always tell people this little story, and it's not that big of a deal, but so when Alex was little, I was his coach from the time he started playing when he was like 7 until he graduated from high school. So anyway, we'd go up to Vernal or someplace for games over the weekend, and we'd win one, and everybody was happy. The next day, we'd lose a game, let's say, and the parents were just,
What are we doing?
it was terrible.
Why were we here?
And all the kids cared about is, where are we going for pizza after the
Yeah.
game?
Can we go swimming?
That's all, that's all they care about.
Yeah.
And so it just goes to show you that the kids have the right perspective.
Right.
Sometimes, and it wasn't every parent. I actually had a really good group of parents when he was growing up. But sometimes parents get, a little bit worked up about it. And,
It's once you start hitting
it's not
tier,
that big of a
if you hit tier level,
tier levels.
no
not good.
swimming, eat right, you got curfews, you've got, there's a lot of
Oh, you mean tier hockey? I thought you were talking,
no, in
kids are
general.
crying
No,
because the
no.
parents are on the way home.
It could go either way at this point. But no,
Okay.
It's just like let the kids be kids. Let
Yeah.
them get coached the way they need to be coached.
Right.
And so
They
at the
should
end of
be
the
at that
day,
level.
like, don't. Kids are sponges. Don't put the bug in their ear. to ruin what's going on around the scene into the scene.
All the coaches are
they're gonna
paid
see
volunteers too.
Exactly. Thank you.
Unpaid
Absolutely.
volunteers.
Unpaid volunteers.
Yeah. Yes,
we
Alex.
work our 9 to 5s and we come and coach your kid, and we don't want to coach you too.
Mini suits for president.
There we
I'm telling
go.
You right
There
now.
we
Hey,
go.
I'm running right now.
Let's go.
There
I'm
we go.
voting right now. Done.
Let's move on.
My guy.
What are
That
we?
is so true.
What are we thinking about? I love this. Everything
I'm
about
so
it.
stoked on
I want
this. I really am.
everybody watching.
You're gonna have to make another
know.
one so Cole can have that because that's mine.
No, I know. I mean, this is like, it's so cool. So
It is. It's amazing.
It's $12, right? I just
Yeah,
want
$12.
to touch back on that. $12, you can get this huge.
Oh, it's immaculate.
I mean, look at this thing. This thing's awesome. But yeah, I mean,
Are we gonna go
props
again?
on that. I mean, you said you've been at it since 2017, yeah?
Yeah, there's been a bunch of renditions, probably 15 or 20 of them.
And
That one's the goat right there.
And so we're at 8 years in the making, yeah?
Yeah, finally finished it.
Yep. I love that.
Yeah, pops.
Yeah. Speaking of books, where's your book?
Hey, I'll tell you what. I had a great
Hey.
conversation on the phone last night with Gary Holt. And if you followed Golden Eagles, your dad would know who Gary Holt is. Gary Holt is the guy that scored the winning goal in double overtime in Game 7 against the Dallas Blackhawks in 1975 that brought the Golden Eagles their first league championship. And Gary Holt played on a line with Lyle Bradley, who was kind of Mr. Golden Eagle
Everybody.
hockey, or at least one of the 3 or 4 guys that most people would consider.
The goat.
The GOAT, yeah.
I agree, though.
And
I've got some stuff signed by Lyle, and I'm like,
Yeah, Lyle was awesome, and Gary played on his line, and also Bob Murdoch, who went on to play in the National Hockey League on a line called the 3M line with Dennis Marook and Al McAdam, and those 3 guys, were just a force to be reckoned with the California Seals and the Cleveland Barons for about 4 years. So that was a very potent line. And anyway, so I talked to Gary on the phone last night, and he told me some great stories, related some great memories, and it was just great talking to him. I'd met him a long, long time ago, like when I was in high school a couple of times, and it was great talking to him. He's got 2 homes. He lives up in Spokane, Washington,
okay.
and then he spends the winters down in Tucson, Arizona, and he spends most of his time golfing. And
Hey, love it.
yeah, his wife's from Salt Lake, so they'll stop by here quite often and visit.
So when you get these, stories and whatnot that you have never heard in works of your Salt Lake Golden Eagles book, are you, do you got a pen and paper as you're on the phone?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know if he even needs
Are you
one.
using the old phone, old house phone, and like holding it on your shoulder and?
No, I don't do that. I use my cell phone on speaker, and I
don't even know if he needs a pen and paper. This guy,
Right.
Hey, I got a question for the
You're
big
the
guy over here.
sponge.
suits deuce. What we got?
Did you ask Gary Holt what his golf handicap was?
I did not ask him that.
Oh, damn.
But we talked about other things. He told me that he told me a funny story. He said that he was coached by a guy named Ted Garvin, this is his legendary coach in the old International Hockey League way back when. And Ted somewhere heard that Gary could do one-handed push-ups.
All right.
And Gary,
Cole, let's see it.
Gary wasn't a big guy. I mean, Gary's probably like 5'10", maybe 175 when he played. So he wasn't big, but he was tough as nails.
Yeah.
I mean, he really was. Anyway, somebody told Gary once, you got to work on. He did push-ups all the time. He said, push-ups are great, but try the one-arm push-up. So Gary worked on that, and he worked up to where he could do like 50, 60, 70 one-arm push-ups, which is pretty amazing. So he's playing in the International Hockey League for the Columbus Seals. Okay, and they were a California Golden Seals farm club. That's the team he played for.
Is that what led into the goals?
What's that?
Is that what led into the goals? Oh no, Seattle to California.
No.
Okay, never mind.
No, that's okay.
I was just
Anyway,
kind of like, wait.
he played for them right after junior hockey, and then the year after he played in the International League, he came to Salt Lake in the old Western Hockey League. But anyway, Garvin comes up to Holty and says, "Hey, I heard you can do in the shower." He's in the shower. He says, I heard you can do a one-arm push-up. And Holty says, "Yeah, I can." "Well, let me see you do it." And he's thinking, well, I'll go get dressed. No, I want to see you do it right now. So he goes, I'm bare butt naked, and I'm down on the shower floor. He said, I did 50 of them. I whipped out 50 just like that. Garvin's, oh, okay. He just walks away.
So real quick,
Love
I
that.
want to touch back on this book. Suits is in the process of getting one. I'm talking Papa Suits. We got Deuce Suits, which is number 2.
Mini suits.
Mini Suits, right? Are you the proofreader? Are you making sure that he's getting this done? Like,
I'm the proofreader.
Yeah, he's the famous editor.
oh, okay.
Are you going to proofread his book then, or what?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure he'll have some guy from New York reading it.
Oh,
won't
he'll
need
have
me.
a few, I'm sure.
Well, Theo told me that he would do the foreword in that book.
Oh,
He was
yeah?
ready for us, so I'm pumped about
Well,
that.
yeah. I mean, he's got those book connections.
Well,
Yeah.
you've obviously got a backing. He dropped his first, so no pressure again.
Yeah, no pressure. Just come on.
Yeah. Keep pushing him along there.
But honestly, this for me, writing this book about the history of the Golden Eagles, the funnest part of it is calling guys and
Yeah.
talking to them,
Yeah.
and listening to these stories. And some of them they're getting up there. I mean, I talked to Guile Fielder, who was Guile's in his 80s now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he might be close to 90. He might be 90, and I talked to him 3 or 4 months ago, and the guy's got an amazing memory. He remembers all these details about things.
And that's the best part.
Yeah. And some guys, I mean, I understand. You've been away from the game for 40 or 50 years, and sometimes one season blends into the next. I get that.
For sure.
But they've all got great stories to tell.
And
They
I can't
really do.
wait for it to drop, and again, he keeps saying, well, I keep saying you said tomorrow yesterday, but at the end of the day, I'm pressuring him to get it dropped, but all good things take time.
Yeah, the thing is, the thing about this book, and I think everybody's going to really like it. Is,
I love it already.
It's not just going to be stats. It's not going to be, well, they finished in 4th place this season, and here are the leading scorers. It's going to be a lot more than that. I want great stories that people are going to read and they're going to laugh at.
Yeah.
There's some
All the untold stories that people didn't
Ever get to
see
see.
Yeah.
publicly, and
Probably like what
locker
we've
room
heard about, like,
stories.
the whole,
and,
yeah. Like even
Yeah.
in high school, when we won state, some kid's like, I'm doing the walrus. We're like, what is that?
What is the walrus?
I'm not going to name his name because I actually live with him. But I don't know. He got buck ass naked, like you were saying. And he just soaped the floor and slid across it and slid into the wall. And I was like, what are you doing? Next thing you know, everybody's just flying into the shower doing the same thing. So, well, it's just one of those that's like, it's just hockey, man. Like,
The great thing about professional hockey players, and I'm sure it's like this in most sports, they sometimes the season gets a little monotonous, and so they got to do something to kind of spice things up.
smoking cigarettes
And-
at halftime. And
Well, I mean, they'll pull pranks on each other, and you wouldn't believe some of the things the
man.
guys do. I remember one night, there was a place called the Green Parrot, which is right across the street from the Salt Palace, and all the players would go there after
Yeah,
the game.
we heard stories about that place.
Okay, so the Parrot was the place, and Salt Lake had played. I think it was Tulsa, and they had called up this rookie. It was toward the end of the season, and he'd been playing junior hockey. And so when the junior season was over, he'd been drafted by the Rangers, and they sent him to Tulsa. And so anyway, I go over with some of the people in the press box, and we're over there just after the game, the way we always would. And here comes this kid, and his shirt's all unbuttoned. Okay, he's got a tie, but his shirt is totally unbuttoned. Well, the reason why is they cut all the buttons off.
Little pranks like that.
So what's he gonna do? He's got a little like safety pin trying to hold part of it together.
Yeah.
And this guy I'm sitting with going, who is that guy over there? I said, I think that's, I can't even remember his name now, so-and-so for Tulsa. Well, why is his shirt undone, clear down to his belly button? So I went over and asked him. I said, hey, what happened to your shirt? He goes, geez. He goes, I came out of the shower, I went to get dressed, and all the buttons are missing.
oh, yeah. No. I've had all of my furniture removed, everything. I'm
love
talking like everything removed out of my hotel room.
Well, we've got a million and one stories
It's so true,
to
though.
keep talking about, but we're out of time, guys.
Main focus.
So,
Buy the book. We will put up a link.
Yep.
Support local, everything. It's actually incredible. And thank you again. And
been
thank
fun.
you both.
Yeah, thanks
Always
for
look
having
forward
us.
to it.
Absolutely. We'll do it again.
this has been the Puck Drop Podcast.
That's
we'll
right.
See you next time.